Good evening, students. So you are completed with your studies on GST. All the aspects of GST has been covered. So we are now good to go with our aspect on practical application of what we have studied. From the day one, when I was taking this chapter, I was saying, let's concentrate on the logical portion of it, understanding the law, right? We have completed understanding the law. So now it is time for us to see how to apply the law. Okay. So our objective was to keep our basics strong. That's when we had learned the basics and we have learned the theoretical aspects. Now we will get into understanding the application of those logical understandings what we had. So whatever concepts we had learned, we were always clear that we have to understand the concept. Since we are clear with the concept now we will go with application of these concepts through the various problems. So when we apply the concepts in problems, we'll get to know whether we are going in the right path or no. Sir, I'm not getting any questions from the students. Generally, by this time, there will be some things. Okay, so I'm getting it now. So are you ready for the problem solving session? Ready. Awesome. Yes, good evening, Neha. Good evening, Hardik. Good evening, Devesh. Good evening, Nistala. Good. So we will start with the problem solving session. And as I had discussed, all your queries and any kind of questions which you want to specifically solve, we can solve that also. So for now, I have taken up a set of questions. I've prepared a set of questions, taken it from few questions from previous question papers and a few which I have prepared from other materials. Based on this, we will do the solving of the queries. Now, this is a question on input tax credit. First, we'll start with input tax credit. Mrs. Sorabji, a registered supplier, supplies the following goods and services for construction of buildings and complexes. What does he supply? Excavators for required period at a per rate basis, manpower for operation of the excavator at a per day basis, soil testing and seismic evaluation at a per sample rate. The excavators are invariably hired along with operators. Okay, very important. The facts are very important to understand our application. So don't lose on any line. Every line becomes important. So the way of approach of solving the problems here and at the exams will be read the question. So when you read a question, read it fully in the flow. Don't get distracted or don't get deviated that I should go to the second question. Then the facts of the first question gets mixed up with the second question. So don't do that. Start the question, complete the question, write the answer. Okay, unless you want to evaluate at the first time, which is the question you want to attempt. At that time, you will only glance through. But when you want to solve a question, answer for a question, you will go through the question completely. Okay. So the excavators in this question is very important, saying what are the facts, what is the combination, because from the question, we will get to know a lot of things. So understand the question in a better manner. So from this question, we will go and read it in detail. Sorabji is a registered supplier. He supplies the following goods and services. Excavators are required at a per hour rate, manpower for operation at a per day rate, soil testing and seismic evaluation at per sample rate. The excavators are invariably hired along with operators. Similarly, excavator operators are supplied only when the excavator is hired out, which means what? The excavator operators, okay, which means the manpower for operation, they are charged at per day rate, but excavators operators are supplied only when the excavator is hired out. So the business is such a way that you will give the excavator operators, but you will not give it independently. You will give it only when the excavators are hired out. That is the nature of the business. Messrs. Sorabji receives the following services: annual maintenance service for excavators, health insurance for operators of excavators, scientific and technical consultancy for soil testing and seismic evaluation. These are the inputs what he receives. For a given month, the receipts exclusive of GST. Okay, this is an important term because sometimes it may be inclusive, sometimes it may be exclusive. And sometimes when they have not confirmed whether it's inclusive or exclusive, then what will you do? You will take, it is always exclusive. You will treat that the value what is given on that you will charge the GST. Okay, in this case, for extra support of our position, they have specifically mentioned that the following receipts are exclusive of GST. What are these receipts? Are as follows: higher charges for excavators, 20 lakh 25,000. Service charges for supply of manpower for operation of the excavator, 22,500. Service charge for soil testing and seismic evaluation at 3 sites, rupees 2,81,250. The GST, what they have paid during the said month on services received by Messrs. Saurabh, okay, is as follows. So these are all the input services. This, they say the GST which they have paid during the segment on services received by Messrs. Saurabh is as follows. Annual maintenance for excavators, 1,12,500. Health insurance for excavator operators, 12,375. Scientific and technical consultancy for soil testing and seismic evaluation, 1,12,500. What are we supposed to do? Compute the net GST payable. Okay, there could be various ways to give a question. So what is the ultimate goal is what we have to see and then work towards it. In this case, they have told compute the net GST payable. What is net GST payable? Output tax payable minus input tax payable. That is net GST payable. So that is what we have to do. Okay. Assume the rate of GST to be as under: hiring out of excavators 12%, supply of manpower services and soil testing and seismic evaluation services is at 18%. Opening balance of input tax credit of GST is nil. So with this background of the question, how will you solve the answer? Yes, Miss Neelam, your doubts, since we have started with this, I will give you time at the end, or you could ask now also, because, or as we had said that there are a lot of questions. Let us solve this question and take all this thing, and then we'll take your specific questions. ठीक है, आपके questions, please ask that after this question. So this is the problem. This is how you will get in your exam as well. How do you solve this? Okay. So what I've done is I will solve it along with you. You will have to take this in your respective notebooks so that these questions will be shared with you. You write down the answer now, and once you get this question, you'll be able to keep the question and answer together. I would suggest you to write it in your books so that you will be able to grasp it, saying how to work out step by step. Okay. So here on the left side will be your question, and on your right side will be the answer. Clear है? Okay. First is mention the question number and mention the party name so that the examiner who's correcting it, he will see the question number for sure. But if you mention the respective taxpayer's name when they've given, so it will help him to connect that question and the answer where you're giving the answer for that. And what are you doing? That will be the heading. First is question number, the taxable person's name, the registered person's name. What are you doing? You are here trying to do computation of your gross GST liability, correct? So we have to move towards net GST liability. First, we'll calculate gross GST liability, then the input tax credit, then the net GST liability. So first is computation of gross GST liability. Now, respective tables, there is no set format, but you have to give it in a presentable format. So in consider adding tables which are relevant and give lot of sufficient spaces. Because if we give sufficient space, then we are in a position to, assign it. And if there is any mistake, we can add something. So give sufficient space. Don't concise it. Keep it sufficient space. तो जब आप आंसर देते हो, फर्स्ट जो हमने बताया था कि क्वेश्चन से ठीक से पढ़िए, पूरा क्वेश्चन ठीक से पढ़िए। क्वेश्चन पढ़ने के बाद फिर आपका नेक्स्ट स्टेप होता है कि उसका एप्लीकेशन। तो आपकी प्लानिंग शुरू हो जानी चाहिए कि मैं क्या करूंगा, ठीक है। अगर मुझे क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करना है तो फिर मुझे क्वेश्चन को पूरी तरह समझना चाहिए। फिर क्वेश्चन में क्या पूछा गया एट द एंड वो बताएंगे कि आपको इनपुट टैक्स कैलकुलेट करना है या टैक्स पेएबल कैलकुलेट करना है, उसको समझ लीजिए, फिर उस डायरेक्शन में वर्क कीजिए। तो जब मैं आंसर लिखूंगा, क्वेश्चन नंबर एग्जैक्टली लिखूंगा, फिर पार्टी का नाम, और फिर मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ। So first, in this case, I am calculating computation of gross GST liability. What are the particulars? ठीक है, various description जो दूंगा, description या particulars लिख दीजिए। What is the value involved? What is the rate of GST and the GST payable? तो first है, इन्होंने क्या किया, हायर चार्जेस फॉर एक्सकवेटर्स, ठीक है। तो फर्स्ट हो जाएगा हायर चार्जेस। हायर चार्जेस फॉर एक्सकवेटर्स क्या वैल्यू का है? हायर चार्जेस फॉर एक्सकवेटर, द वैल्यू इज 20,25,000 रुपीज। तो मैं यहाँ पे 20,25,000 लिख दूंगा, ठीक है। देन विल कम टू द रेट ऑफ जीएसटी एंड जीएसटी पेएबल। पहले जो जो डिस्क्रिप्शन है उसको लिख सकते हैं। हायर चार्जेस कवर अप हो गया। नेक्स्ट इज service charges for supply of manpower for operation of the excavator. Service charge for manpower, what is the value for that? 22,500, ठीक है, 22,500 ले लूंगा। Then service charges for soil testing and seismic evaluation at 3 sites. So तीनों site का मिला के the value is 281. They have not said this is the price you have got for each site. They have said this is the service charge received for services at 3 sites. So this is total, ठीक है। Now the rate of tax. The rate of tax, they say it is hiring out of excavators is 12% and supply of manpower service and soil testing is at 18%. And they have not given the GST rate for service charge for manpower. So will you take it as 12% or 18%? Service charge for manpower is at 18%. Higher rate of GST will be the main rate that is calculated at 18%. Lokesh is saying it will take it as 12% as it is service. So what is the correct thing? I need some more answers. Rate for manpower is given. Where is the rate for manpower in the question? I didn't find it. Okay. Yes, yes, you're right. Supply for manpower service and soil testing and seismic evaluation. Okay. I myself have forgotten this. Very nice that somebody's observed this, that rate of manpower is given. So should it be taken as 18%? Hiring for excavator, we are clear, 12%, right? 12% hiring for excavator. Then for manpower, again 12%. Is there a mistake here? Am I taking the 12% rate correctly, or should it be 18%? Soil testing and seismic evaluation, there it is, 18%. So do you think this 12% is a mistake? Many are now saying that since I've made a mistake there in not seeing this part, you are now saying that the rate should be 18%. But if you see in my working, I've considered 12%. So do you think 12% is rate is wrong, or is it correct? Everybody is still saying it is 18%. But that is where our reading of the question, as I said, will help us. The reading of the question says that excavators are required for required period at per rate basis, manpower for operation at per day. This is what they supply. Okay. But the important point is the excavators are invariably hired out along with operators. Okay. The excavators are invariably hired out along with the operators. And similarly, the excavators operators are supplied only with the excavator is hired out. What does it mean? It means that they are both bundled together. Okay. And it is in the nature of a composite supply. So when the excavators are hired out, along with that, the operators are also given up. So operators are not separately provided. Excavator operators are supplied only when the excavator is hired out. So it is not an independent supply. It is a composite supply. And for composite supply, what is the rate for the principal supply? That will apply for the ancillary supply also. The main activity is hiring of excavators. When you give excavators for hire, you will provide manpower. And what is the rate for excavator? You will apply for the service charge as well. That's the reason you will consider 12% as the rate for service charge for manpower. Clear now? So respectively, what is the service tax GST payable in this case then? GST रेट याद करना पड़ेगा? नहीं, GST रेट याद नहीं करना पड़ेगा. जनरल रेट याद करना पड़ेगा कि जनरल रेट फॉर सर्विसेज इज 18% and वही आपको याद करना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज जीएसटी रेट आपको दिया जाएगा। सिर्फ दिस से सर्विसेज तो फिर आप 18% अज्यूम कर सकते हो, लेकिन जनरली आपको रेट देंगे, क्योंकि फाइनल में आपको रेट्स जानने की जरूरत है, इंटर में आपको रेट्स याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है। Why shouldn't be 18% as it a mixed supply? It's not a mixed supply. It is not that two supplies are independent and they're mixing. They're not giving two supplies. They are giving one supply wherein one is a principal supply and another one is an ancillary supply. So it's in the nature of a composite supply. Okay. So 20 lakh 25,000 at 12%, where 22,500 at 12% and 281 250 at 18%. This is the total value, which is 296,325. Right, Devesh? So this is the gross GST liability, right? Now we have to calculate the input tax credit. Hope you are noting down each and everything. Answers I will not share. I'm sharing only the question with you. In the upload segment, uploading PDF, I'll only share the questions with you. Answers, since you're already writing out, I will not share this with you. Okay. So what is the ITC? ITC, they've said that higher charges for excavators. Higher charges. Before that, there is a annual maintenance charges. What is the GST paid for this? These are the output values. These are the GST paid. Annual maintenance for excavators, which is 112,500. On this, is the ITC available? Is this a blocked credit? No, this is not a blocked credit. So ITC आपको मिल जाएगा fully. Subject to other conditions. Since nothing is mentioned, then you can assume, you can mention a specific note that ITC has been claimed on the assumption that all the provisions of section 16 has been complied with. Okay. So annual maintenance of excavators. Next is health insurance for excavator operators. How much is that? 12,375. Then on that, will I claim the credit? Is the credit available on health insurance? So let me put that a pause. By the time I'll go to the next one. Assume that this is not obligatory under law. Then scientific and technical consultancy services, that is soil testing and seismic evaluation, 112,500. On that ITC is available. Yes, on that ITC is available. But for health insurance of operators, assumed it is not obligatory under any law, then it is not available. So that is the reason my credit will be 225,000 rupees. And this note I've given that I'm claiming ITC on the assumption that all other conditions are satisfied. My net GST liability will be what? My output tax minus input tax. Output tax is 296,325 and my input tax is 225,000 rupees. So GST payable is 71,325. Okay. So this is the answer for the question. clear with this? Any questions on this? And somebody were asking some other questions. Please ask your questions now. Not getting your questions. So questions नहीं आ रहे हैं. Questions नहीं आ रहे हैं. नहीं ना, लाइव ही है. क्वेश्चन Okay. I'm not getting your questions. Looks like some technical problem, but let's proceed with the second question then. ABC Company Limited of Bengaluru is a manufacturer and registered supplier of machine. It has provided the following details for the month of November 2020. These are the details of GST paid on inward supplies during the month. Oh, I'll just share the screen. Yeah. ABC Company Limited of Bengaluru is a manufacturer of registered supplier of machinery. It has provided the following details for the month of November 2020. Details of GST paid on inward supplies during the month, health insurance of factory employees, raw materials for which invoice has been, raw material for which invoice has been received, and GST has been also been paid for full amount, but only 50% of the material has been received and remaining 50% will be received in the next month. GST is to the extent of 18,000 on that. Works contract services used for installation of plant and machinery, 12,000 rupees. Purchase of manufacturing machine directly sent to job worker, 50,000 rupees. Purchase of car used by director for business meetings, 25,000. Outdoor catering services availed for business meetings, 8,000 rupees. Now calculate what is the ITC claim for November 2000. So in this case, how will we compute the input tax credit? So same, mention the question number, then the company name. What are you trying to compute? Computation of input tax credit, particulars, GST paid, and whether the ITC is available. So the first part was on health insurance for factory employees. Health insurance, ITC of health insurance is blocked and hence it is not claimable and it is assumed that it is not obligatory. So when it is obligatory, okay, the ITC provision says that when it is obligatory, that is when we can claim it. So in this case, it is assumed that it is not obligatory and nothing has been given in the facts of the question. Okay, GST paid is 20,000 rupees. ITC available will become 0 since I'm showing that it is not obligatory. But if they say it is obligatory, then ITC becomes available. Second is on the raw material purchases, raw materials for which invoice has been received and GST also has been paid for the full amount. So can we claim credit on this? We can claim credit. Since 50% is come, can we claim 50% balance? Will claim it later on? No, since in case of a lot system or where part of the goods have been received, we can claim input tax credit only on receiving the last lot. So in this case, we can claim it only when we receive it in the next month. Then next is on works contract service, which is used for installation of plant and machinery. Works contract service, which is used for installation of plant and machinery, 12,000 rupees. GST paid is 12,000 rupees. On this, ITC is available. Then purchase of manufacturing machinery directly sent to job workers' premises. One of the conditions is receipt of goods. Now, if I have not received the goods and it has been directly sent to the job worker, can I still claim the credit? GST paid is 50,000 rupees. Is the credit available is the question. Purchase of manufacturing machinery directly sent to the job worker is still claimable because ITC says that in case of a bill to ship to transaction, it is assumed that credit is available. So you can claim credit on this. Then the next item is purchase of car by the director. Now there's a car which has been purchased, which is used by the director only for business meetings. Okay, since he's not using it, any part of it for personal, it is a business expense. So can we claim it? GST paid on this is 25,000 rupees. Is ITC available on this? No. On any kind of a car, unless you use it for any kind of a driving school. Okay, or you're into reselling of this, and those specified conditions only if it is met, then you can claim. But even if you use completely, or you use it for passenger transport service, only then you can claim. That too, the capacity of the car should be more than 12 passengers. In this case, it's a normal car. So even if it is used for business purposes, you can't claim it. Then outdoor catering services, if it is availed for business meeting, not for employees welfare or something, it is purely for business meetings. Can we claim it? Still, we cannot claim it. Okay, so the ITC available will be only to the extent of 62,000. Okay, so the total ITC claimable is only 62,000. Sir, agar can you check why questions are not coming yet? Okay, but this is a problem solving session. I will need the response. Oh, it's not working. Yeah, even another one. Can you just when I go to intermediate, there I'm not able to proceed further. What do we do? हाँ, नहीं नहीं हुआ ना, नहीं इट्स ओपन नहीं हुआ है। So sorry students for the technical issue. We have solved the first question and the second question. You had understood this. Now we'll proceed with the third question. So in the second question, the important point to be noted is that on health insurance for factory employees, we are not claiming the ITC. Then raw material purchases also we are not claiming because the complete lot is not received. So even though we have paid the GST, we have got the invoice. Receipt of goods is an important condition. So if you receive the goods, only then you have to claim it. Then works contract services, we are claiming it, and purchases of manufacturing machinery, even though it's a capital asset, still ITC is fully available. And but for car, we cannot claim it, and outdoor catering is restricted, so we can't claim it. Now moving to question number 3. Before that, if I'm able to see the questions, yes. Okay. Srinivasan, is the video clear now? Are you able to see the video? People who are not able to see the video on the BOS, you can watch it on YouTube because I've got queries which says that on the YouTube you're able to watch the video. Okay. Please give me a response if you're able to see. If you are able to see question number 1 and 2 before we proceed to question number 3. Okay, now you're able to see. Perfect. Question number 1 and 2 is clear. Yes, Mayur, your comment is now visible. Let's start now. Perfect. So your queries I could not see. Now I'm able to see, but it's taking time to buffer. So let's proceed with this question and answer instead of waiting for something else. These challenges come. It is like CA institute, CA course, I would say, not like institute. Sorry for that wrong usage of word. The CA course is like that you will get lot of hurdles. You will have to take it as a challenge and move it, because if everything is normal, then what is the fun, right? Let's take it as a challenge and proceed further, that we will complete the major questions and we will not waste our time. Third question is similar to second question, wherein ABC company of Bangalore is a manufacturer and registered supplier of machine. It has provided the following details for the month of November 2020. Details of GST paid on inward supplies during the month are as follows. The health insurance, again, same question, but what is the difference in this question and the previous question is, there it was only GST paid. In this question, additional information is provided that what is appearing in GSTR 2B. Okay. So ITC, we will claim only what is appearing in GSTR 2B, correct? So that is the additional information given in this question. Now, same question, we know that. So let us start at solving this question. Okay, same, right? The question number, ABC Company Limited, computation of input tax credit. Health insurance, ITC is blocked, but it is appearing in my GSTR 2B. Can I claim it? If appearance in GSTR 2B is the criteria, can I still claim it? GST paid is 20,000 rupees, which is appearing from here. Now from the 20,000, ITC available is 0. When ITC is available, which means it is a blocked credit, so you cannot claim it. Then your claim also will become 0, irrespective of it is appearing in GSTR 2B. It will appear, but you should not claim it because appearance in GSTR 2B is not sufficient. It should be an eligible credit, only then you can claim it. Okay. Second part on the raw material. Raw material purchase, GST paid is 18,000 rupees. Is the ITC available? No, because ITC will be available only if you have received the complete lot. In this, you have not received, so ITC is not available. Is the ITC claimable? No, again, ITC is not claimable in spite of it appearing in GSTR 2B. Third aspect is labor services received for installation of plant and machinery. This is to the extent of 12,000. Is the ITC available on this? Yes, ITC is available. So we will claim the ITC. And is it claimable? Yes, it is claimable because all the conditions of input tax credit is being satisfied. So I can claim it. Then the next question is on the next aspect is on manufacturing machinery purchased. On this, the GST paid. Like in this question, since I've given GST, we are directly calculating it. Otherwise, we will take what is the purchase value into that respective GST rate. In this question, they have directly given what is the GST they have paid. So we are not doing any further calculation on that. So GST paid is for 50,000 rupees. ITC is available to the extent of 50,000 rupees. Is the ITC claimable? Yes, ITC is claimable to the extent of 50,000 rupees itself. Next aspect is on purchase of car by director. 25,000 appearing in GSTR 2B. Can we claim it? GST paid 50,000 rupees, 25,000, sorry, 25,000 rupees. Can we claim it? ITC is not available. So ITC claimable is also 0. Then proceeding further, outdoor catering. Outdoor catering value is 8,000 rupees. ITC is not available, so we can't claim it. Then raw material purchased and received in this month. Okay. In the previous part, here it was raw material purchased but not received, so we have not availed it. In this case, raw material purchased and received 30,000 rupees. Is it ITC available? Yes, ITC is available. Is it claimable? Yes, claimable to the extent of 0. Why? Because it is not appearing in my GSTR 2B, right? So if it is not appearing in my GSTR 2B, I cannot claim it. Then consumables purchased. Consumables purchased is used for the purpose of operations and it is not restricted anywhere. So I can claim the ITC. ITC is available. Yes. Is it appearing in my GSTR 2B? It says yes. So can I claim it? Yes, I can claim it. Then next part is on GST paid on import of raw materials. On imports, it is the value is 50,000 rupees. Is it claimable? Yes. Is it claimable? It is available? Yes, it's available. Is it claimable? It is not appearing in my GSTR 2B. Can I still claim it? So not claimable, not shown in GSTR 2B. Okay. Now what about this? In case of import of raw materials, it is not appearing in 2B. Can I still claim it or no? No, you can't claim. It is exempt. No, it is not exempt. Not claimable as it is not appearing in 2B. But my dear friends, you can claim on import of raw materials because what you can claim in 2B, what will appear in your 2B is only those, the conditions for claiming says that you can claim those credits where somebody has uploaded. But for import, it is the customs authorities who's giving an information. So for import of goods, you don't have to wait for it to appear in 2B. It may appear or it may not appear. But non-appearance of import of goods in GSTR 2B doesn't mean that you can't claim the credit. You have the bill of entry and that is a supplier who is supplying outside India and it is charged on import of goods, correct? So on that, in spite of not appearing in 2B and for reverse charges, these are the two exceptions where it is not appearing in 2B, still you can claim it. Okay. So this is the exception that imports, when you're importing goods on which you're paying GST, even if it is not appearing in 2B, you can still claim it. So your ITC claimable is 1,42,000 rupees. Okay. Now some students were asking some questions. Now I think you can ask it so that we can answer those questions now. Yes, Harshit, I've got your message. Yes, Ram, what is your query on this? We have to write note for every point of transaction regarding why it is available or no. So if it is, if you are can add a note to the pointers and mention why the credit is not available, because generally like consumables, purchases, you don't have to give a reason. Or such cases, the best thing would be to give a reason saying that it is used for business purposes, right? Because any input which is used for business purposes, we can claim it. So you mention that it is for business purposes. And for not available, you give specific reasoning, so that will be better. Explain import, input again, and other input where it was not showing in 2A. Yeah, two things. That things which are not appearing in 2B you can claim is one is import of goods and purchases on which you have to pay reverse charge, like legal charges, GTA charges, sponsorship charges on which you pay reverse charge. If it doesn't appear in GST or 2B, still you can claim it because you are paying taxes on that. On your own payment basis, you can claim it even because the supplier may be registered or unregistered. He is not obliged to pay the taxes. You are obliged to pay the taxes. So in case of reverse charge and import of service, if it is not appearing in 2B, it is not supposed to appear. So you can claim the credit in such cases based because you are paying the GST on that. Outdoor catering, if provided by business authority, then claimable? No. Even if outdoor is provided by business authority, it involves supply of food. And any kind of supply of food is block credit. We cannot claim it. On import of raw material purchased but not appearing to be, you can mention that this is not a case of Section 37, right? Section 37 says that when somebody supplies, they have to upload it in their GSTR 3B. This is not that somebody is supplying, this is you yourself you are playing. So you can mention that this is not part of 37. So non-appearance of GSTR 2B is not a requirement. So I can still claim the credit on this. Yes, Neelam. Quiz number 5 of chart chapter on page number 3.68. How the answer is B, because it is a case of supply of goods as well as service other than restaurant. Okay, let's take this question because it's been asked for quite some time on charge chapter. 3.68, right? Okay. So question and quiz number 5. Aladdin Electronics is engaged in intra-state supply of air conditioners and has an aggregate turnover of 90 lakhs in the preceding financial year. In the current financial year, it wishes to opt for composition scheme under section 10 subsection 1 and 10 subsection 2. Okay. It will start providing services and repair of air conditioners also from 1st April of the current financial year. Aladdin Electronics can provide services up to a value of dash to continue availing benefit of composition levy. Okay. So what is the value of services it can provide is the question here. So what is your doubt? Yes, Sunil, I am able to receive your message. Outdoor catering to another outdoor catering, then it will be available because people who are in the same line of business, they can claim ITC. So, but if you see, if a outdoor serving person is there, he's providing restaurant services, then for him, the condition itself is that he should charge 5% and he should not claim ITC. So even if he's getting from another outdoor, he will still not get the input tax. So in case of supplier of goods, and if he's doing any services, there is a marginal scheme, right, which says that 5% of the aggregate turnover of previous year or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. Correct? So 90 lakhs ka half 5% is 4.5 lakhs. 4.5 lakhs or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. So 5 lakhs is higher. So up to the value of 5 lakhs, he can do services. In the charge supply, if you see that even though they are a composition dealer, they have to do fully goods, but to the extent of marginal supply of services, which should be here. Yeah. They cannot claim input tax credit, but they can do marginal supply of services. I'll just take you there. Yeah, that is there at respect to. So read this completely. A person engaged in marginal supply of services other than restaurant services also eligible. That is up to 10% of the turnover of 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. Basis this, up to 5 lakh worth of services can be done. Clear? मिस नीलम समझ में आ गया आपको? ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन नेंशी सर, अगर कोई ए स्टेट का पर्सन बी स्टेट में रेस्टोरेंट में खाना खाता है तो कहाँ का जीएसटी लगेगा? अगर स्टेट ए का पर्सन स्टेट बी में जाएगा तो स्टेट बी में सर्विस इज प्रोवाइडेड इन स्टेट बी इटसेल्फ, तो आपको स्टेट बी का ही जीएसटी लगेगा। स्टेट बी का सीजीएसटी और एसजीएसटी चार्ज करेगा, वो आपको स्टेट ई का चार्ज नहीं करेगा क्योंकि स्टेट ए में तो वो है ही नहीं। तो रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस इज इन स्टेट बी, तो फिर वो स्टेट बी का ही जीएसटी चार्ज करेगा, सीजीएसटी एंड एसजीएसटी, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट अ इंटर स्टेट सप्लाई, इट्स अ इंट्रा स्टेट सप्लाई। Yes, Miss Neelam, 10% of turnover of 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस प्रोविजन, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस तो रेस्ट्रिक्टेड क्रेडिट में है ना, कि हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सर्विसेज के ऊपर आप क्रेडिट नहीं ले सकते हो. दैट्स व्हाई वी कैन नॉट क्लेम द क्रेडिट ऑन दैट. ITC is having high weightage, yes. I would say comparatively high because आपको हर चैप्टर में मिलेगा ITC का पोर्शन, so it will be having a higher weightage. ठीक है, we'll take the next question. Star Limited is a registered supplier in Karnataka. They have provided the following details for supply of one of the machines. The list price of the machine supplied, which is exclusive of items given below. Again, list price of the machine is 80,000 rupees. It is exclusive of 2 to 4 details given below. मतलब ये price अलग है. Tax levied by local authority on sale of such machine. ठीक है, जब मैं machine sale करता हूँ, local authority भी कुछ charge करता है. Because there's some special machine, इसलिए local authority को भी charge करना पड़ता है. To the extent of 6,000 rupees. These are the details for supply of one machine. तो एक machine का details दे रहे हैं. Then discount of 2% on the list price of the machine was provided, which is recorded in the invoice of machine. Okay, so 2% discount मिलता है. Packing expenses for safe transportation charged separately in the invoice, 4,000 rupees. Star Limited receives a rupees 5,000 as subsidy from the NGO on sale of each such machine. The price of 80,000 of the machine is after considering that subsidy. मतलब आपको सब्सिडी मिला है, इसीलिए 80,000 प्राइस है, वरना फिर प्राइस ज्यादा होता. कितने का सब्सिडी मिल रहा है? 5,000 rupees. During the month of February 2020, Star Limited supplied 3 machines to intrastate customers and 1 machine to an interstate customers. Okay, it supplies 3 machines to intrastate customers and 1 machine to an interstate customer. Star Limited purchased inputs of 1,20,000 rupees exclusive of GST for supplying the above machine. कितने का inputs है? 1,20,000 exclusive of GST. Now, the balance of ITC at the beginning of February 20 was as follows: CGST 18,000, SGST 4,000, and IGST 26,000 rupees. Note the rate of CGST, SGST, and IGST is to be 9%, 9%, and 18% respectively for both inward and outward. All the amounts given are exclusive of GST. All the conditions necessary for availing the ITC has been fulfilled. Now compute the minimum net GST payable in cash by Star Limited. This I think we had taken up, but let's brush this up. Okay. On question number 4, Star Limited कितने का है? What we have to compute? We will have to do computation. Computation of value of taxable supply, particulars, and amount. Extra columns center में इसलिए डालिए क्या था, क्योंकि अगर if you have to do some workings, you can do it. What is the list price? The list price is 40,000 rupees, 80,000 rupees. ठीक है, फिर क्या है? Add which is the taxes which is levied by the local authority. What are the taxes which is levied by the local authority? 6,000 rupees. So 6,000 rupees add कर दूंगा. Then discount. What is the discount? Okay, first let me add all the addition, then the deletions. Add the packing expense of 4,000 rupees. Then should I add the subsidy? 5,000 rupees subsidy I am considering. Since I've received a subsidy, should I add it or no? The answer is yours. You have to add it because subsidy received from non-government body and which is directly linked to the price is to be included. So major subsidy मिल रहा है from a NGO which is not a government entity, and I have to add it because the price of 80,000 is after considering the subsidy. मतलब 85,000 था, I've considered the subsidy, or फिर I'm giving a list price of 80,000 rupees. So I have to add back this subsidy for the purpose of GST, because when I supply it, I will supply at 80,000 itself, but I'm getting a subsidy from a government. For GST purposes, I have to charge GST on this from a NGO, so I have to add this. So I will add that. This is my total value. Now I have to rate 5,000 into 2%. But what am I doing? I am doing a discount of 2% on 80,000 rupees. Is that correct? It is correct, because it says the discount of 2%, whatever pricing you charge, the discount is given as 2% on the list price. When you do valuation or calculations, you have to be very careful that what is the discount. Discount is given on the list price, and the list price is 80,000. आपके additions or deletions से discount का फर्क नहीं होगा. So discount is a 2% on 80,000, which is 1,600. So if I reduce the discount from the total value, I get the taxable supply value of taxable supply of 93,400. So for each of the goods, the value for the purpose of GST 93,400. Okay. So 93,400. Then how will I compute the GST payable? First, I will compute what is the output GST payable on the sale of machine. Intrastate, I am selling 3 machines. So 93,400 into 3 into 9 plus 9. Okay, I will get 25,218 of CGST and SGST. And interstate, 3 machines intrastate and 1 machine is interstate. So 1 machine interstate, 93,400 into 18%. Then total output tax is this much. Okay. Now input tax. ITC, how do I set off? I will do a working note for this, because opening input bhi hai, फिर current year का input bhi hai. So let me see how much is my input balance. So lot of working notes will be required. When you work out your question, lot of working notes will be required. Do the working notes in the main part of the question below it or next page. Don't do it like a working note and scribble it, because your working notes will give the examiner your understanding. Okay. So computation of ITC, opening balance, CGST, SGST and IGST ये अलग से लिख देंगे. Opening balance of 18,000, 4,000 and 26,000. Take that values. Then add inputs which is purchased during the month. What is the inputs I've purchased? I've purchased 1,20,000, which is exclusive of GST, and it is an intrastate. So 1,20,000 into 9%, 9% makes it 10,800, right? So this is my total ITC. Opening balance plus whatever I have purchased is my total ITC. Now I have to offset the ITC in the best possible manner. Right? So what will I do first? First is IGST has to be claimed against IGST. We remember the table, right? First you have to clear off the IGST. 26,000 rupees balance है, उसको यहाँ पे clear कर देते हैं. Liabilities of 16,812. Fully IGST I will clear. Then IGST balance I will pay with CGST or SGST in any proportion. ठीक है? So I will use of the IGST credit here is very less of 14,800. You could do a rough calculation here itself that IGST balance जो balance पड़ा है, CGST का credit ज़्यादा है और SGST का credit कम है. So I can utilize against SGST or I can utilize this balance IGST against SGST or CGST, but SGST का liability ज़्यादा है और credit कम है. So I will utilize the credit of IGST against my SGST liability first. So 16,812 balance Okay. So there was a question which was received from Vaishali saying why we are adding packing expenses in machinery charges. They had given charges differently. Yes, they have given separately. That's why we are adding because the list price is not including any of these packing expenses. It is separate. So we have to add it. That is the reason we are adding packing charges as well. If you receive my question, then please also take care scenario 1 in MCQ portal. Uh, which one are you talking, Vaishali? Whichever is higher, right? Which is your question on your composite supply. This turnover is so since 10% or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher, correct? 10% of the turnover, not 5%. It is 10% of the turnover or 5%, whichever is higher. So I had said 5%, which is actually 10%. In your question, 1 minute, question is 3.68, right? Yes, 3.68. Your question was this or this. 10% is 90 lakhs, 10% is 9 lakh, or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. So correct answer is 9 lakhs, right? But what have they done in this? Okay. Yes, because I had said 5% or 5 lakhs, whichever is it's actually 10% or 5 lakhs. So in this question, it is 90 lakhs. 10% of that is 9 lakhs. So 9 lakhs or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. So the value will be 9 lakh rupees. So they can provide services up to 9 lakh rupees, not 5 lakhs. Neenad, your question is on 7.17. Okay. Which chapter are you talking about? Value of supply. Okay. 7.17. Quiz number 3. Okay. Bura Limited, a registered supplier in Surat, sold goods to Kala Limited of Delhi on 6th April for 5 lakh rupees, excluding GST, with a condition that if Kala Limited failed to make the payment within 30 days of the delivery of the goods, interest, you have to use a calculator here, interest at 2% per month on said price of 5 lakh will be charged for the period of delay. Now, goods were delivered and the invoice was issued on 5th of April. Okay. What is the condition? That if they fail to make the payment within 30 days of the delivery of the goods, then interest at 2% per month on the said price will be charged for the period of delay. Now, goods were delivered and the invoice was issued on 5th April. Kala Limited paid the consideration on 20th May, which means they have delayed by 30 days because the time was within 30 days. 5th April को invoice रेज किया है, 4th May को आ जाना चाहिए. Now, they have a delay along with applicable interest. Kala Limited refused to pay any tax payable on the interest amount. Applicable rate of GST in this case is 18%. What is the value of supply in the given case? Okay, very tricky question. The value of supply first is 5 lakh rupees. Now, on that, if there is any interest charged, then that will also have to be considered, right? Interest is charged for delay. Is charged at 2% per month on the said price will be charged for the period of delay. Now, be delay कितने दिन का है? He is issued in April, correct? 6th April को he has issued it. Now, from 6th invoice is issued on 5th April. Here it says that the invoice was issued on 5th April. And that interest will be charged if fail to make the payment within 30 days of delivery of the goods. Now, when is the delivery of the goods? Sold goods on 6th April. Even though invoice is raised on 5th, the delivery is happening on 6th. 6th April to 5th April actually is 30 days. Now he is delayed by 15 days. Correct? 6th May, 5th May, it happens 30 days. Now there is a delay of 15 days on 5 lakh rupees into 2%. Okay. Divided by 65 into 15. Five lakh into 2% is the interest on 2% is per month interest. Now, either we could do proportionately divide by 365. This is for 1 month into 12 months makes it as 1,20,000 divided by 365 into 15 makes it as 4,931, which is not matching. So we could simply take 15 days on 5 lakh, 2%. This is for 1 month. You have to take for 15 days, so divide by half, makes it as 5,000. So the value of supply will be 5,000 rupees. Yeah. So the correct answer is 5 lakh 5,000 rupees because the interest for 1 month is 2%, which makes it as 10,000. Half of it, 15 days. So half of it makes it as 5,000 rupees. So the value of supply is 5 lakh 5,000 rupees. Yes, Srinivasan, I have not got any of your messages. Please let me know what is your question. Nenshi Sakrina, sir, supply of services वाले केस में place of supply जाने में प्रॉब्लम है हो रही है जब पर्सन ट्रैवल कर रहा होता है. करेक्ट, जब पर्सन ट्रैवल कर रहा होता है तब वहां पे वो स्टेट में जो सप्लाई करेंगे उसका क्रेडिट, इनमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी रिलेटेड सर्विस का क्रेडिट वो क्लेम नहीं कर सकता. श्री लक्ष्मी, व्हाई आर यू सेइंग 5,95,000 rupees? 5,95,900. I didn't find the logic for that because only interest, right? Only interest. So what have they asked you? Applicable rate of GST in this case 80%. Value of supply. We need to calculate the value of supply, not anything else. So the value of supply becomes 5,05,000 rupees. In answer, they're given as C. So what have they done? They have calculated the number of days of delay from the 6th April. So April has 31 days, correct? 31 days, Jan, Feb, March, April, 30 days, sorry. 30 days, 30, and he is delivered on 6th April. So we'll remove 6 days. So 24 days in April and in May, 30 days. So 6 by, by 6th April, 30 days gets completed. 6th May, sorry, or the 5th May. And then you have paid on 20th May. So 20th minus 6, if I do, I get 14 days. So I can do a calculation of 5 lakh rupees for 14 days, 5 lakh into 2% per month makes it as 24%. 24% divided by 365 into 14 days gives me 4,602, but you are getting an answer of 4,237. Okay, paid the consideration for the goods along with, now they have refused to pay any tax payable on interest amount. That is the catch. 5,000 divided by 1.18 makes it as 4,237. Okay, got it. So what is happening is he is charging interest, and interest, if he is not giving separately, it means the value of interest itself is inclusive of tax, right? So on 5 lakhs plus interest plus taxes, correct? So the interest calculation, what I did was correct, which is 5 lakh rupees into 2% makes it 10,000. Now there is a delay of actually 15 days itself, which I have calculated correctly. So 10,000 divided by 2 makes it as 5,000. Now this 5,000 is inclusive of taxes, correct? So 5,000 divided by 118 into 100 gives you 4,237. So the value of your supply is 5,04,237. Okay. So interest is inclusive of GST. So you have to gross it up and then you will get 4,237. Yeah, Aisha, we have classes tomorrow also. We have more problem solving sessions tomorrow and day after. But today's classes, we have done good questions. Please go through them. Why not option D? 5,95,000. I don't get any calculation for this value. If Kala is refused to pay the GST, then we have to pay the GST on behalf of Bora. Yes, we have to pay. But the value will be inclusive of GST. You will not charge additional GST, right? The value of supply in case of interest will be grossing up. For interest amount, GST rate is 18%, 5,000 is included, 100, so you have to remove part, sir. Correct. Since exclusive GST, don't we need to add? No, we don't need to add. We have to gross it up. Value of service of 5 lakhs is inclusive of GST? No. 5 lakhs is clearly mentioned that it is excluding GST. Invoice amount would be 5,95,000. The question is not on invoice amount. Correct. The question, if you say invoice amount, then you may say 595, 500, 900. But here they're asking what is the value of supply. So the value of supply is 504,237. Okay. So question number 4, how to set off ITC against the liability? Yes, let's go to my question now. Question number 4, how to set off. Yeah. So the simple thing is, I will mention the numbers here. First is this one. You have, yeah, output tax. This is your output tax, which is payable. Now you have to set off the IGST credit first. First, always set off the IGST credit, then the CGST, and then the SGST. Always follow this. Because before paying claiming any credit of CGST, IGST credit should get exhausted. IGST के credit में balance रख के आप CGST, SGST pay नहीं कर सकते हो. IGST का kitty should be clearly cleared off first. So IGST credit, how much do we have? 16,802 is your liability. We have, so I will mention here so it's clear. Step 1. Set off 1. From this, we will clear off the IGST liability. ठीक है? Balance कितना बचता है? 26,000 minus 6,000, 16,812. So set off 1 IGST. अभी जो ये balance बच रहा है 9,188, IGST credit can be used for paying IGST liability first. Any balance can be used for paying off CGST or SGST, any one which is possible. In our case, the SGST credit is low, so I will utilize the IGST credit for payment of CGST, for payment of SGST. So my set off 2 will be IGST. First here is IGST credit with IGST liability. Second is IGST credit with SGST liability. कितना बच रहा है? 9,188. So 26,000 credit में से 16,812 I take off, 9,188. IGST balance becomes 0. 26,000 I've distributed for IGST liability and SGST liability. Then set off 3 is CGST credit with CGST liability. How much is my credit? 28,800. How much is my liability? इसको निकाल दीजिए थोड़ी देर के लिए. My liability is 25,218. So I will offset only to the extent of 25,280. Right? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? यहाँ पे IGST का बैलेंस था. Now IGST का बैलेंस यहाँ से 0 हो गया है. ठीक है? I will mention here IGST balance. Here it becomes 0. Then CGST balance. बैलेंस कितना है? क्रेडिट था 28,800. उसमें से आपने लायबिलिटी इतना पे कर दिया है. तो बैलेंस इज 3,582 is your closing CGST balance. Why I'm saying it's a closing? Because CGST credit you cannot offset with SGST. So this is the CGST balance. Then CGST का exhaust हो गया. Now CGST credit whatever you have, you can utilize for payment of IGST, but IGST's liability is completely offset. Nothing of IGST is to be paid. So khatam chapter, this will be carried forward. Then third set off is set off 4 is SGST credit with SGST liability. SGST का credit कितना है? 14,800. Your liability is 25,218. or 9,800 already have set off, but still there is sufficient liability. So you will utilize fully SGST liability. Okay. Is there anything remaining? This is your liability and this is your credit and this is your liability. So SGST balance is also zero. Correct. Now, आपका total credit, what you have utilized, total credit utilized is this much. Correct. And balance tax payable. Your output is this much and your credit is this much. So from your output, you will pay from your credit itself. This also, you will pay your output of 25,218 from your credit. So you have still a liability and IGST output minus your input credit is zero. So you have to pay 1,230 through your electronic cash ledger. Got it? This is how you will pay your liability through the credit ledger. Clear, Srinivasan? Correct. 3,582 balance of ITC of CGST to be carried forward in next month. After IGST, ITC, can we set off the remaining with any of the CGST or SGST? We have to first set off with CGST and then you can set off either CGST or SGST. Not compulsory that you have to set off CGST. 50% you can use for CGST, 50% for SGST, that is also possible. Or 100% towards SGST, that is also possible. That flexibility is being given to you. Yes, even in exam, you can write this so that it gives a clarity to the exam saying how have you set it off. In the SGST section, 1,230. Yes, it is in SGST only. It is not how many questions we solve. It is how much of understanding we have done. Even if one question we have got and we have understood it, that will be more beneficial than doing a lot of questions. Because from this understanding, you can solve a lot of questions and you can get more confidence. Please explain SGST credit utilization. Yes, very critical. Your output is 25,218. Input of SGST, you have only this much, correct? So if you do a rough calculation, 25,218 minus 14,800 is minus 14,800. You have a liability of 10,418. So if you don't claim credit from anywhere else, you will end up paying liability of 10,418, which you don't want to write. You will want as a businessman to pay the least liability. So what you're doing, the IGST credit, which is remaining after set off of the IGST liability, you're telling that give me the credit for payment of SGST. Because IGST credit is universal. You can utilize for payment of IGST. You can utilize for making payment of CGST, and you can utilize it for payment of SGST. But if there is any liability of IGST, then you cannot say no, IGST you don't pay SGST. That is not possible. If there is any liability, your credit should go off for utilization to the extent of IGST liability, and balance will come here. So that's why I've claimed the credit of IGST. Then SGST, what is the balance liability? See, 25,208 was my liability. Now IGST gave me credit of 9,188. Balance is 16,030. I have credit of SGST to the extent of 14,800. From this, if I reduce 14,800, okay, then I will get the balance liability of 1,230. This is what I've got. Clear, Himlata? Okay, now let's move to the next question, question number 5. Question number 5 is on Residents Welfare Association. This we have understood very clearly in exemption chapter with examples there. Now we will understand this with practical numbers. Aryanth Residents Welfare Association, which is registered under GST, has 45 members, each paying monthly maintenance of rupees 8,000. The association purchased a pump set of rupees 60,000, which is excluding of GST, and availed property management services of 59,000, inclusive of GST. So this question is crystal because you have output, you have input with GST and excluding GST both for use of its members for the month of January 2021. Compute the GST payable for January 2021 by the association. All transactions are interstate. There is no opening ITC and all conditions of ITC are fulfilled. Okay. You have to compute the GST payable and all transactions are interstate. There is no opening ITC. So calculate the GST liability. Very simple question, small question. Aisha, what happens if we set off IGST liability in C and SGST? You will end up paying more of, you'll have more credit of CGST when you will end up paying more of SGST. So in this question of a recent residential welfare association, how will you do the calculation? Very simple question. What is the maintenance charges which is received? 8,000 rupees, right? What is the GST on that? What should be my calculation? Wow, tax payable directly 45,000 rupees. Okay, let's go step by step. 8,000 rupees from 45 members. That is important. So 8,000 into 45, the amount is 3,60,000 rupees. Both CGST and SGST, both I'm putting, assuming the rate of 18%. Nistala, what is your query? I didn't get it. Shouldn't we compute into 12 because monthly charges is 8,000? For the year, shouldn't we compute into 12? Yes, Sri Lakshmi, you're right. Monthly maintenance is more than 7,500, so it is taxable. Since it is more than 7,500, it is not the differential, it is on the whole value. Once it crosses 7,500, then on full 8,000, we have to collect GST. Why aren't we doing 8,500 into 45 members into 12? Yeah, Nishala, I've explained the set of 2 times I've explained. Please concentrate and listen to that. Which option will give the best? So you can try 2, 3 combinations, whichever the tax liability is more and input is less. Okay, there you can offset the other taxes. Like in our question, SGST credit was less and CGST credit was more. Then you will claim the credit of IGST with SGST because SGST credit is less. That is how you will do it. You're right, Mayur. We are computing for a month and not for the year. That's the reason we are taking only as 8,000 into 45. The question says that for computer GST payable for the month of January. That's the reason we are taking it only for 1 month. So 8,000 into 45 members is 3,60,000. This is CAGST payable. GST is assumed as excluded in the collection, right? Like how in interest it was inclusive. Here it is assumed that GST will be extra, right? If you do inclusive, then your assumptions has to change. But in this case, we have assumed since nothing is given, we are assuming is GST is excluded from this collections. Less input tax credit on pump set 60,000. 60,000 into 18% is 10,800. Then on property management, 60,000 excluding GST, so 60,000 into 18%. On property management, 59,000. 59,000 is inclusive of GST. So what will we do? We will do 59,000 divided by 118 into 18 gives it 9,000. So we'll reduce 9,000 as input tax credit. So net GST payable is 45,000 rupees. Simple. Okay, so good. We'll go to the next question. Question number 6. Mr. A is running a consulting firm and is also a ready-made garment showroom. So there's one person who has a consulting firm and also a ready-made garment showroom, which are registered in the same PAN. Turnover for the showroom is 102 lakhs and receipt of consultancy firm is 24 lakhs in the preceding financial year. Whether Mr. A is eligible for composition scheme. First question. The same question has two parts. First, let's answer this, whether he is eligible for composition scheme. You want solution for question number 5, Mayur? Already done. Question number 5, solution is GST payable of 45,000 rupees. 64,800 minus 10,800 minus 9,000 gives it as 45,000 is the GST payable. Question number 6. No, he is not eligible for section 10. Correct. So he is not eligible. Now, if he wants to opt for composition only for showroom business, can he opt for it? He's not eligible for composition income as he supplies services more than 10% of the turnover, right? And because he's also providing, so he can't. That's the right answer. Aggregate turnover includes all supplies made by the registered person. Exempt supply is included in the definition of aggregate turnover or non-taxable supply. Hence, non-taxable supply is also included in the turnover. Service providers as such with composite goods are not eligible. Mr. A is providing services in consultancy, hence he is not eligible because the limit also is crossing, right? So he's not eligible. If a business is ineligible to, now in the second part, whether he wants to opt for only for showroom, can he do so? No, because if a business is ineligible to opt for composition, then all other businesses registered under the same PAN shall automatically be ineligible. So if he wants to opt for only composition scheme for showroom and regular for the consultancy firm, not possible. So he cannot opt for composition even for showroom business. If instead of consulting agency, Mr. A is running a restaurant, then whether he is eligible for composition? Correct. Everybody is giving a correct answer. In case of B, it will be possible because restaurant services are eligible for compositions. Then in question number B, he can go for composition. In question number C, if the turnover of garment showroom is 140 lakhs in the preceding financial year and there is no consultancy firm, then is he eligible for composition? In third case, somebody is saying still no. Why are you saying still no, Harshit? It's not crossing 1.5, so he can still claim. Why are you saying no? I'm not able to get the reasoning. See, it is possible to get it. So yes. Third case, it is possible. Yes, Mr. A is eligible for composition as the turnover does not exceed 150 lakhs. So he is eligible to claim in the third scenario. Can I opt for composition for one location, composition of goods for another location? No, I cannot, right? So that's the thing. That basically thing is that if the turnover of the garment showroom is 150 lakhs, then I can claim for composition because the turnover is less than 50 lakhs. 150, 1.5 crores. Okay. Question number 7. It's a theoretical question, but application with numbers. Mr. A has obtained a registration of casual taxable person to make a display in exhibition. So this is different from question number 6. Don't link it to question number 6. This is a new question. Mr. A has obtained a registration of a CTP to make a display in an exhibition. His Turnover from the exhibition is 15 lakhs, just 15 lakhs, whether Mr. A is eligible for composition. Okay. Why no, Pritesh? Very good. So everybody is giving the correct answer. Since a CTP, casual taxable person, cannot are specifically excluded from composition. So even their limit is below 1.5 crore, they cannot opt for composition. Very true. Question number 8. Mr. A is registered in Rajasthan, who is selling goods from Rajasthan to Gujarat. Turnover of financial year, whether Mr. A is eligible for composition. We hide this question, otherwise you will get confused. Let's not confuse you further. Mr. A is registered in Rajasthan and he's selling goods from Gujarat to Rajasthan to Gujarat, and his turnover is 73 lakhs, whether he is eligible for composition. Very good. Correct answer, Mayur. Nishtala, because he can't get credit. So we are only asking on registration, not on credit. Correct, Harish. Correct, Neenat. Correct, Nagaraju. Nishtala is saying yes, eligible. Hardik is saying eligible. Ritesh is saying no. Parthasarthi is saying eighth one, Mr. A is eligible since turnover is below 1.5 crores. Correct, Sri Lakshmi. Correct, Ram. Correct, Avinash. Okay, so very few wrong answers. Be careful, student. In the case of 8, okay, he is not eligible as he is making an interstate outward supply. Okay, he is making an interstate outward supply, so he will not be eligible. Be careful. So a composition person dealer cannot make an interstate supply, since in this case he's making sales from Rajasthan to Gujarat, from one state to another, so he is not eligible. So what happens in a twisted question where they say, will your answer change if Mr. A is making purchase from Gujarat and selling goods in Rajasthan? Yes, then he is eligible because the restriction is on outward supply. There's no restriction on interstate purchase. Mr. A is making purchase from Gujarat, then he is eligible for composition as there is restriction on outward interstate supply and not on inward interstate supply. He can make purchases from interstate, but he cannot make interstate supplies. Next question. Mr. A is a non-resident taxable person. He's running a ready-made garment showroom in Rajasthan. Turnover for the preceding financial year is 70 lakhs. Whether he is eligible for opt for composition scheme. Correct. Non-resident taxable persons cannot opt for composition. So everybody is giving a correct answer that NRTP cannot claim for composition. Next question, Mr. A is a dealer who is selling goods which are leviable to GST, exempted goods and non-taxable goods. His turnover in the preceding financial year is 110 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs goods which are leviable, that is goods which are leviable to GST, exempted goods and non-taxable to goods respectively. Whether Mr. A is eligible for composition. Arshad, why are you saying ninth one is eligible? No, yes, he can opt for composition as his turnover for taxable supply does not got threshold limit. Okay, should we consider only the taxable supplies or should we consider the aggregate turnover? Yes, we have to calculate the aggregate turnover. In this, aggregate turnover is more than 1.5. Aggregate turnover includes all types of turnover made by supplies registered under single PAN. If a person is selling the goods which are not leviable tax under GST, then he is not eligible to opt for composition. In this case, aggregate turnover exceeds 150 lakhs because 110 plus 20 is 130 plus 30 is 100.6 crores. So since his turnover is crossing 1.5 crores, he cannot opt for composition. Question number 11. Mr. A is selling goods through e-commerce operator. Now, turnover of the preceding year is less than 75 lakhs. Whether he is eligible for composition now. Yes, e-commerce operators will not be eligible to opt for composition. Very right. So when you're selling through an e-commerce operator, you cannot opt for composition scheme. Okay. 12th question. I think we could be the last question for the day. A person has two establishments, one in Uttarakhand and Rajasthan. The turnover in Rajasthan is 60 lakh and turnover in Uttarakhand is 30 lakhs. He wants to opt for composition scheme only in Rajasthan. Whether he can do so, if he is ready to opt for composition in both states, then can he opt? No, since his aggregate turnover is exceeding 50 lakhs, he is not eligible for registration. Okay. The one line answers are not enough. You have to answer and give explanation for that as well, right? You have to be careful that you give explanation for that. Just don't say yes, he's eligible, not eligible. Give explanations also. Okay. Mayur, you have been really fast. Correct. One state, no, if both states, then fine. Since the aggregate turnover in the previous year on his PAN number is more than 75 lakhs, and for Uttarakhand, it is special category state, so it is 75 lakhs. Even though in Rajasthan, it is 1.5 crores. But in Uttarakhand, it is 75 lakhs, so he cannot offer composition scheme for the state of Uttarakhand. Since he would not be able to offer composition in Uttarakhand, therefore he would not be able to offer composition in Rajasthan. People who are saying that if both the states he can, no, because if one state he becomes eligible, then in other state also he is ineligible. If he has two registers, he cannot. But since his turnover is crossing, so he cannot opt. Correct. He cannot pick and choose. You're right. All right. Good. So at least at the end, we could see a lot of participations without much of issues. We'll continue from question number 13 tomorrow. So this will be 20th March 2024. Okay, somebody had some questions. So any more thing on our basically a feedback on how do we take up the other two sessions on problem solving? So if I give such practical questions, are you able to solve it in the class with me? Great. Awesome. Good then. Good. Then we'll continue with this and take more practical questions, more lengthier, so we can cover up a lot of things. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. तो अब साथ में write नहीं कर रहे हो, you should write. Please कोशिश करो कि लिखने का. The faster it is, the better it is, क्योंकि आपको एग्जाम में भी फास्ट लिखना पड़ेगा.